Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Welcome to a very special BlokeBusters episode. I'm Paul, and today I am here with everyone that helped me go over my initial watch of the original Star Wars trilogy because, well, I'm kind of a glutton for punishment, and I thought it would be a good idea to round it all off by watching the Star Wars Holiday Special, despite the fact that Mike actually attempted to tell me just how bad it was, and I didn't listen. So
I want to be clear. No. I want to be clear. I refused to watch it. I did not watch it. It's not so bad it's good. It's bad. I told you, don't watch it. It's not fun. There are only a few things I like in life. B. Arthur and Star Wars. And this ruins both of them. So, I'm not watching it again. I will be grumpy the whole time. I'm a fan of the Magic Tavern, so this is like going to like a baseball stadium and meeting like your hero and being like, "Want to have a catch?" Says the hero to you, and you're like,
and the hero saying, "Hey man, I'm just a hot dog vendor. You want to watch the players?"
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like. That I had to talk to the hot dog vendor. He was my hero.
Mike, if I may, it sounds like you said you like B. Arthur in Star Wars. Well, my man. Beatrice Arthur is the star of the Star Wars Holiday Special, so...
Indeed.
Thank you for being...
No room to complain.
Yeah. You're a pal and a confidant. I can say that completely.
Yes, and as you can tell, yes, I do have Mike, Adal, and B-Rob all back so that we can kind of dive into this. And, yeah, I honestly, I'd heard stories. I will be completely honest there. I've heard stories about how bad this was. I have heard some of the cast basically saying just how weird this is. And I knew that this was not rebroadcast after the one and only time it aired, which was the Friday before Thanksgiving in 1978. And it pushed out Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk so that they could air it. And from pretty much all accounts, everyone was incredibly pissed that happened. So yeah. So for anyone that has absolutely no idea what this holiday special is, I don't either, even though I've seen it. But it's set between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. It stars...
Is it really?
Wait,
hold on. That's hugely problematic. This is set during a war?
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. It is officially set between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. This was the introduction.
Oh, my parents are all crispy. Let me say hi to Chewbacca and his fake Hanukkah holiday. Oh, I'm so excited. This is ridiculous. Oh, I hope I'm great at being a spiritual monk knight and can't, like, have love anymore or have a girlfriend. Oh, let me go see what's happening on the tree planet for weird Christmas. This is ridiculous.
I feel like canonically it would make sense to have this air to have this set before A New Hope, because after this shit show, then the creators of Star Wars can go, wait, A New Hope? There's hope for this series. These characters aren't all bad.
Don't worry. It's not the worst thing ever. There's not things dancing on a table.
No. And in fact, this particular thing is the introduction of Boba Fett. This is officially the first thing he was ever in. So
cartoon,
there you go.
Right?
There's that. Also, this does
Wait,
feature...
hold on. Boba Fett's not doing something ridiculous like riding a dinosaur, is he?
You know what?
Yes, he is. That's what Boba Fett's doing. The coolest bounty hunter of all time is Fred Flintstoning around on a dinosaur.
So his feet are coming out of the bottom of the dinosaur?
No, he like at the end of the song, Yabba Doo-Dah, and when he gets out of work.
Oh, no. I'm familiar with Fred Flintstone.
When he surfs off the dinosaur.
I think that one went sailing over.
Look, I got the joke. I got the joke, everyone. I'm grumpy. I'm upset this thing is real. I've said I would be grumpy. I refuse to watch it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, well, fair enough. You're probably the smartest one out of all of us. So, yes.
Well, I do have a secret to reveal, which is I started watching this, and I had heard from so many people that this was just the worst thing imaginable. And I'm a glutton for punishment. I really enjoy watching bad movies. One of my favorite movies that I legit enjoy is Nothing But Trouble with Chevy Chase and Demi Moore.
Oh yeah,
Tupac.
Yeah. I would
and John
rather
Kennedy.
watch that.
Yeah, but I love that kind of stuff. So I'm like, here we go. Like, let's get ready. I got I want to say half an hour into it, and this for the first time in my life, I was like, I cannot do this anymore, and I turned it off. And I apologize to you. I'm not prepared to talk about the full thing, but I literally could not get through this.
Yeah,
that's
similar instance here. I think I put in a group text earlier today that like I couldn't finish it. So what I wind up doing is I think I fast forward the first 12 minutes because the version that I've watched that Paul sent us, it was all Wookiee talk, and there was no subtitles. So that was not relevant to me watching. So I just skipped that first whole 12 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Then
that's absolutely fine.
And then any musical number I skipped. And
so you made it to like 20 minutes to the end then.
Then just about all the Wookiee dialogue I skipped. I watched the animated portion of it.
Yep.
And that was...
It's about 2/3 of the way through that one.
To center it, I cannot fathom the amount of cocaine that went into the people in a room in the 70s saying, let's do a 2-hour holiday special. It will revolve around a family that doesn't talk. In fact, for the first 11 minutes, it will just be a series of screams and grunts, and that'll do. That was, I couldn't, when Lumpy screams or whatever he does, chirps, that is the most obnoxious sound in the world.
Yeah.
If you don't know, Lumpy is some sort of relative to Chewbacca, and he's a younger but somehow less cute Wookiee, and he makes this. You're right. I forgot about it. It's like you know when you hear a bird call in like a museum and it's playing through some, like you go to a natural history museum and it's playing through some crappy speaker that every old lady and kindergartner has shoved their ear up to. That's what it kind of says. So it's like kind of this like, it's very odd.
And that's the intro. That's the first 11 minutes is just screams.
Yes.
There's not a single word said.
Not
it screams
subtitled
for 11
either.
minutes. And not, yeah, exactly. Yep. You can't even, I mean, you can glean what they're saying because the people inside the suits will tilt their head nonstop. Like nobody's not tilting their head constantly. And so you can kind of glean like, oh, the grandpa hates the grandson and wants to eat him. And like the mom is like, stop. So... but it's, why are we seeing this? Like, it's exhausting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And apparently, even though Lucas is uncredited as a writer, it was his idea to build it around Chewbacca's family.
Smart. If I wrote this, I would be uncredited too.
Yeah. And supposedly there was a writer that was concerned about the fact that it's entirely centered on a species that grunt without subtitles, but Lucas was completely unwilling to budge on that. They also went through 2 different directors. So the first one was David Akumba, who was brought in to kind of make them different compared to other variety shows, but because he was unfamiliar with multi-camera setup, and he was...
Why did he get fucking hired? Can I tell you, as a full-time artist, and I'm sure other people here can relate, like, getting work is very difficult. So the idea that someone got to touch Star Wars... I'm never going to stop this incensed tone, by the way, so I need to pull it back. Someone got to put their hands on Star Wars, and they're like, have you ever done anything like this before? And they're like, oh, no. I've never directed even a sitcom. I've never stepped in a TV studio. Just give me the most important movie in the world right now. Give me that franchise.
Yeah, well, apparently he filmed a few scenes, including the cantina scene and the Jefferson Starship video, basically. And then he left of his own decision. So he was replaced by a guy called Steve Binder, who his only contact with Lucasfilm was he was given the Wookiee Bible, just detailing how the Wookiees should look and behave, and that is it.
Oh, that Bible sucks.
So this is why Disney threw a whole bunch of money at him and pushed him away from his own property and shit because they're trying to save it.
Yep.
So, Paul, if I go to the Star Wars, I don't know what it's called, the Star Wars land that's like connected to, it's in Florida. What's that called?
World's
Star Wars
Edge or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So
like
if I go to that and I stay in a hotel, you're telling me in every bedside table there's a Wookiee Bible?
You know, I hope so. I really hope they start leaning into this.
You should. I mean, look at Harry Potter Land. You can buy butterbeer and all that other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like, genuinely, I found out about half an hour before we started talking. There is a Lego Star Wars holiday special that was released on Disney
Lego
Plus.
Holiday Wookiee Bible. I was like, what?
No,
I want to say something about Lego Star Wars. Don't even put them in
an
the
official Lego Star Wars holiday special released in November of last year on Disney Plus, which is both a sequel to and a satire of this holiday special.
Okay, but it doesn't exist, which is weird for Disney. Like, you can't watch this anywhere. You have to watch it pirated.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, there has never been any re-release or rebroadcast of this thing, mostly because, I mean, anyone that's attempted to sit through it would know why.
I would watch this if they release this on iTunes or on some sort of DVD box set or something. If there was a version that was like David Lynch's cut, and he kind of repurposes scenes or something, then I would like take an edible and watch it. But otherwise, this is truly the first. I'm 38 years old. This is the first piece of pop culture in my life I've ever come across I could not get through.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Let's talk about the new movies for just a second. If you don't know what this is about, it's about Life Day, right? Why isn't it a Christmas special? Because Christ doesn't exist in this universe. So it's a Life Day special, some special Wookiee holiday they celebrate, okay? And this movie is the reason that I could not enjoy the 8th Star Wars, because in that movie, Laura Linney says, "Godspeed, Jedis." Okay? It's the most problematic line in the entire movie, in the entire series. Because if there's already kind of a famous god in this universe, and it's the Force, and we already have a kind of line for Godspeed, which is "May the Force be with you." It's kind of a big thing that they say, "May the Force." I don't know if you've heard of it. Like, I hate to say that J.J. Abrams and all these people didn't watch, and Joss Whedon didn't watch Star Wars, but if you couldn't remember, like, is he sitting in the theater, "May the Force be with you"? That's it. I couldn't remember it on Rose, right?
I assumed it was just one of the. I assumed it was one of the functions in the vehicle, which is like warp speed, Godspeed, like it's all different.
Ted God.
Yeah. Just below ludicrous speed.
We've gone plaid.
So, if you can say Godspeed, which, by the way, I know Anakin talks about angels, but whatever. If you can say Godspeed, then we can have a fucking whole Christmas special, and it can be normal. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's
this aired just before Thanksgiving, so it technically isn't even a Christmas special.
Mm-hmm. And the mom is cooking a bantha, so I guess that's a substitute for the turkey.
Yeah.
Is that imported? Why would banthas, which live on Tatooine, so does he kill a bantha? Does Chewbacca at some point kill? Chewbacca never goes to Tatooine. Where does this bantha come from?
That's a very good question, and the answer to that is they don't care.
It came from the imagination of a man.
Maybe you've heard of Space Aldi's?
Space
you
Uber
can
Eats?
space all these nuts.
Like I've attempted to try and write a condensed version of this thing.
Oh, please!
And it's not
enlighten
actually.
us.
I say it's not actually possible, because if I want to go over what happens in this, I'm gonna spend most of my time just reading Wikipedia to you, because the amount of information that they include actually is what's needed to describe this stuff. Because, if I'm going for just what the content is, like not even any real details, it's literally just kind of a set piece to get started, followed by a cut to a character that we already know, followed by another set piece, followed by a cut to a character we'd never met before, followed by another set piece, followed by a musical number / sexual VR fantasy, followed by another set piece, followed by stormtroopers turning up, followed by a cartoon for no reason, followed by another set piece, followed by Han turning up, followed by everyone putting on robes, disappearing into light, and then a song at the end, which is Carrie Fisher singing the song to the tune of the Star Wars theme tune.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth noting the moment I turned it off was after the grandpa. It's Chewbacca's dad, right?
It is, yes.
So I guess I'll call him Dad instead of Grandpa because that's Lumpy's grandpa. But Chewbacca's dad lays down and puts on, like you mentioned, like VR porn, and it's like and this woman comes on, she's like, "Hello, I'm what your fantasy is," and like, let's get fucking nasty. And then there's a part where she goes like, "I find you," and it's like the most sensual voice, and it's so sexy, and she's so hot and supple, and he's such a rumpled old raisin, and she goes, "I find you adorable," which is like the worst thing anyone can say to anyone.
Zone.
Yeah, and then the grandpa keeps rewinding it, and she's like, "I find you adorable, adorable, adorable," and I literally just kind of threw my phone across the couch, and I was like, "I'm done. I can't. This is." I think I died in a on the car ride home, and I think this is my hell.
Yeah, I mean,
morally, I am against making jokes. Okay, I want to make sure everyone knows where I'm on this page and why this is a problem for me. I only know about this because other Star Wars fans reference it in things they write. And so then you think, this is like Mystery Science Theater, or this is like watching bad movies. Like, I can watch this and enjoy this. I am going to be a schoolmarm about this. I'm going to be like a temperance person around this. Creating joy around this subject, including our own humor, is doing bad for the universe because people will think, I can have some of that joy. You cannot. This is a warning. Don't smoke, don't drink and drive, don't watch this holiday special. Not in that order, reverse order.
That should, like, the week leading up to proms, all high schools should have like an event where it's like everyone come out to the football field, and there's like 2 cars that have crashed, and like there's dead bodies, through the windshield, and they're like, you know what happened to these 2? They watched the holiday special of Star Wars. And then all high schoolers are like, fuck, like I never want to watch TV again. Like, let's go grab a beer. And everyone's like, great, we solved it. We set up our future generations for success.
And then they just jump and slap hands and freeze frame.
I will say the one, and I think I'm going to catch an earful from from the incredulity that is in the form of Mike. I feel like the one redeemable moment. Hang on. I feel like the one thing is whoever plays the chef who's teaching the cooking show deserves an Emmy.
The Julia Child ripoff.
Yes, both for their performance, because it's legit funny what they're doing, both for their performance and also having to deal with whatever they had to deal with on set. Because that's the one part where I was like, this person's clearly talented, and it's a shame that they're stuck in this role.
And
as far as
that is Harvey Korman, in case you were wondering.
Oh, from Blazing Saddles, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. He was in there. Wasn't he like an android doing a demonstration or some shit too?
Yep. Yeah. He is the chef. He is the android doing the. Oh yeah, that's one thing I did not mention in this thing as well. Yes, the son Lumpy has to find the instructions for how something works. So he watches in its entirety a tutorial video for this non-existent technology.
YouTube.
Being made by an android being played by Harvey Korman, who is somewhat malfunctioning. And yeah, so that happens.
Because he played multiple roles, didn't he?
He plays Krellman, which is in the B. Arthur.
Yeah.
Arthur.
I watched a little bit of that part, and I think like his acting and her acting in that scene was pretty good. Also, the guy that plays the shop owner or whatever,
Art Carney.
Yeah, he did real well as well. I liked his acting.
Yeah, he was funny. There were some consummate professionals amongst all the riffraff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, although one thing, the the entire original cast obviously came back for it, with the exception of Kenny Baker, because he was not in this.
Oh, not Kenny. Who's
No,
Kenny
yes.
Baker?
Kenny Baker is the guy who is inside R2-D2 in all the films.
Oh, that's why they say
R2D2
in all
is
the,
R2D2.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, that sucks for whoever's inside there.
Yeah, no, and apparently it was performed entirely by a radio control unit operated by a guy called Mick Garris. And just in case any of you Mick Garris fans are out there going like, oh, he doesn't get enough love. Yes, it was that guy. And in case you're wondering who the hell Mick Garris is, he was Lucas's receptionist. So, yeah, that's the guy that they got to play R2-D2.
This
so
is your big
I
break,
guess,
buddy. Here you go. Take this RC controller. You're R2-D2 now. Get out there. You got it, pal.
Yeah,
They once left Kenny Baker in the hot desert inside R2-D2 for like an hour. That's a real story. Look it up.
yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, Kenny Baker got the best deal out of it. Then he is not associated with this in any way, shape, or form.
And nobody would have seen his face at all.
Yeah.
I cut out. I called Mercy 30 minutes into the 2-hour ordeal. Does Harrison Ford come back? Because
Yes.
he's in the opening credits,
He
which I was
does.
surprised about. He does come back?
Yes. And actually, for anyone that is into the pitch meetings that the Screen Round people do, they pointed out something when I watched that yesterday. I was like, wow, yeah, I didn't even notice that, probably because I was falling asleep by the end of it. But at the end, he comes back, and there is a single stormtrooper that is left at the house. I'm not going to explain how they got the other stormtroopers to leave because it's not worth it. And Harrison Ford and Chewie come back, and they end up effectively pushing the stormtrooper off the balcony to fall to his death. Wow. And this is the same balcony that Chewie's son was standing on and walking along at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So it's strong enough to support his weight. However, the stormtrooper literally just kind of trips over, and then it breaks and he falls through. So
That armor is heavy.
yeah.
It's wild
Good
to me
point.
that Harrison Ford agreed to do this, because he's the type of guy who would like go to a restaurant, and when the waiter's like, "What can I get you?" he'd be like, I don't know, fucking food, figure it out." Like the fact, because he's so cranky, and especially about Star Wars, like when anyone asks him any question about Star Wars, he famously is like, "I don't know and I don't care. Like, please leave me alone forever." So it's wild to me that I mean, obviously this was 30 some whatever 40 years ago. So.
Yeah.
He was younger, but it seems insane that any of the original cast would be a part of this. Mark Hamill has, like, from what I saw, one little part which was awful. He doesn't even look like Mark Hamill. It looks like he has Vaseline on his face. And his one big moment is like Chewbacca's wife is standing there sad because her husband's probably dead, and Mark Hamill looks her in the face and goes, "Give us a smile." Like, smile for me. And then they smash close up on her face as she gives the most strained smile I've ever seen a woman give. Outside of a Saw movie.
Yeah, and the thing that I took away from that scene as well was, like, obviously they're kind of trying to talk to him, and like he eventually just basically says the line like, that he doesn't want to have to keep dealing with talking to them, put Chewbacca on. So it's like, wow, okay. that's not nice. But then again, it's actually, if you and I brought this up in the previous episodes that we did, like, if you actually follow through the original Star Wars thing, like, pretty much everyone is racist against Wookiees. Like, I think Harrison Ford's character is the only one that doesn't. Maybe Leia, the only one that doesn't actually have a line specifically ripping into Wookiees in this. So yeah, it's very, very odd. I honestly don't know how this got through everyone.
What does Luke say about Wookiees?
No, it's like, it's not that he specifically rips into Wookiees, but it's like he's talking to Chewbacca's wife, and at some point he basically just says like that he doesn't understand what she's saying, and he says something to R2 along the lines of like, okay, I don't want to have to keep talking through you, and he turns back and just says, "Put Chewie on." Like, so So
I
he's
thought you
always,
meant
like,
in
dismissive
the
of it.
movies themselves. I thought you meant in the 4, 5, 6.
Oh no, I'm including this now.
Okay.
Dude.
So, yeah, this is unfortunately canon. Even if they're completely not paying any attention to it and attempting to make this the unwanted stepchild living in the attic, like this does have some canon things in it, including I found out. So Chewie's family, and we know them as like Mala, Itchy, and Lumpy. Those are all nicknames. They all have full names that aren't said in the episode, but have been expanded on in some of the other like extended universe stuff. So their full names are Malatobuk, Atichitchuk, and either Lumpawarump or Lumpawaroo, depending on which one you want to read. So
Now, we're all big dorks here, and I have had to burn my parents and older relatives' ears with sci-fi and dorky nerd things. And I've been tuned out before. And some of the times I just think you're being grumpy, like you can understand this movie. You understand On the Waterfront, that's a much more complicated movie than Star Wars. Like you can get it. To this day, I go into a blind rage thinking about the idea that the growls in Wookiee speech somehow have phonetic alphabetical translations that humans can discern and translate to the point where they included a line in Solo where someone's like, bleh. It's like, oh, how do you pronounce it? Bleh. Oh, not bleh, bleh. Like, that's crazy and the most inexplicable sci-fi fantasy bullshit nonsense I've ever heard in my life.
It is funny because it's nonstop screams and grunts, and yes, everyone understands it, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. But there's a moment during my favorite portion, which was the cooking segment, where the Harvey, or what's his name, Harvey Korman?
Harvey Korman, yeah.
Harvey Korman comes on and he goes, he's like, oh, hello. That was very Mrs. Doubtfire, but he says hello. He says like, hello. And then the mom goes, hello. And I'm like, oh, she just said hello. Like, what? Now they mimic English?
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
just
the
like
episode of Full Metal Alchemist
everybody know
with
what
the dog.
Ola is, you know?
Yeah. I also feel like, could they not? And this is maybe lame, but I feel like 100% they should have just leaned into it and been like, great, the dad is Drew Baca, the mom is Sue Baca, the kid is Lou Baca. Done. Like, wash our hands of it. Let's move on. Versus coming up with these awful names that no one can say.
Yeah.
Let me just say, that implies that someone who understands the rest of the thing, that's even more disappointing. Because that implies that the rest of the thing had the eyes of someone who could create weird sci-fi names like Hakachimulu. Do you know what I mean? Someone could do that there, which means there was someone with writing not trying. It's pure. We've done more. I want to show people the Twitter thread to get this fucking thing scheduled. We did more work in doing this than anyone did on that set. Including Kenny Baker.
You right.
Yep. No, absolutely. And I did want to say, like, the most well-received part of this special,
The end credits.
is. I mean, yes, definitely. Those were a welcome reprieve for everyone that sat through the whole thing. But yes, the cartoon segment that we got to watch apparently is an in-canon telling of it. As listed on Wikipedia, it's Chewbacca's many adventures, but really it's just a weird thing. I'm going to read to you the description of the cartoon, word for word, as it's written down here,
Story
because it's fun. So it cuts to basically this cartoon, which I'll be perfectly honest, feels like somebody was described what the actors looked like and then decided to draw that with a slightly odd style, and that's the animation style we got.
Well, it's like whenever you go to a theme park or Six Flags or something like that, and they have the guy that draws the caricatures of yourself.
Yeah, and then they get most people fairly close, And then there's just that one person that's like, how did you get that? And that would be Han in this cartoon, because Han looks like he's been mixed with Joe the Camel.
Yeah. He looks like he's been handed a raw deal.
Sure.
They had a hand joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's like a woman 3 planets away made this solo alone, and she made it by hand. You could say she made it hand solo.
Yeah.
And then it's like, a 30-minute break for applause.
Yeah. Yeah, and that whole section was just bloody stupid. But yes, so the description of the cartoon. During a search for a talisman, the Millennium Falcon crashes on the water moon of Panna with the main characters on board. They run into Boba Fett, who saves Luke from a giant monster and claims to want to help the rebels. They all board the Falcon, where Han has been infected by a mysterious sleeping virus caused by the talisman. Luke then contracts the virus as well. Fett and Chewie go into Panna City to get the cure, but when they get to the Imperial-occupied city, Fett instructs Chewie to stay behind so that he can contact Darth Vader. And on the Falcon, C-3PO is caring for Han and Luke. R2-D2 intercepts the transmission. They invade the Imperials, and Fett and Chewie return to the Falcon with the cure. But once everyone recovers, they learn that Fett is with Vader. He blasts away using his jetpack, promising they will meet again. And then the heroes head back to the Rebel base aboard the Falcon. So basically, this is literally an introduction as to why Boba Fett is after Han. Like, that appears to be the entire reason for this cartoon, is like, here's a character that's going to come back. And they obviously wait ages to actually bring that back. So, yeah, I'm kind of surprised they still kept that in the film and they didn't just go, nope, different character. We're just done. Or maybe they'd already filmed it by that point. I don't know. Although, actually, that could explain why they decided to, at the time, kill off Boba Fett in an incredibly stupid way in the third film, even though The Mandalorian has somewhat retconned that for, without going into any further details. But yes, it might have been they'd already filmed the second film. This came out and everyone was like, oh, that's terrible. And they were like, shit. Okay, let's just kill him off in the third one.
What don't you like about it, Boba Fett dying?
I don't mind the fact that he dies. It's as I said in the episode when we covered it, it was like they built up this character in the films. I obviously had not seen the special at that point, but they built him up so much to be this guy that was just after Han, and he wasn't going to stop at any for any reason, and he was such a great bounty hunter, and then he's taken out by being accidentally hit in the back of his jetpack. Like, it was such a lackluster end to the character.
It's a little bit like Wile E. Coyote.
Pretty much.
I just realized this aired on TV, right? So assumingly there were commercials in between this too, right?
That I do not know. I wouldn't be surprised if the one time it aired they didn't, because it was Star Wars, and they might have been like, you know what, we're gonna eat the cost of not having the commercials for this one.
No way. That's
I'm sure there's a lot of like cuts a commercial and it's like a man at a desk being like, we here at Frito-Lay have decided not to associate our brand with this bullshit. Please sit quietly for 30 seconds.
I am recording this live. I am Ted from Tide Company. We have seen this special and find it unfit for all audiences and immoral as an American. If you continue to watch this, you should question your own Christian beliefs. Maybe you're one of those funny Jews I've heard about. Get out of here, you Hollywood people. Like, what? Who, like Polaroid, that was a popular, I'm looking up like popular commercials in 1978, and I'm trying to find the worst one that could have gone with this. I can't, these brands would pull out for anything back then. How could you want this?
Yep, I don't know. This is such a strange film, and obviously anyone listening to this, they're going to be kind of hearing us ripping into it, and you know, there are going to be people that are like, well, it can't be that bad. It really is.
Yes.
Like, there is no actually properly describing how shitty this thing is.
I want to comment on the joke I just made about Jews a second ago. I'm Jewish, and we have to pretty much kill someone to get a Hanukkah special on TV. It took Adam Sandler making an ironic one for that to happen. So the fact that this Life Day thing happened I've just realized after the joke, I'm sitting here being like, they would never do a Hanukkah special, but they'll do this? Drek.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, I can actually even see them, like, in the meeting going, well, you know what, if we say it's Life Day, then that can be literally for everyone. Like, there is absolutely nobody that would be able to complain about this, and then it came out.
It's like candle nights. It's for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes. Except, unlike candle nights, this was not during an era where people said, man, we want representation. It was Lucas being like, I can create any holiday in the world. Why is everyone doing Christmas? And they are not doing, other stuff. Should I do my own thing? Should I hide Jewish morals inside of the thing? No, I'm gonna make a new universe where there is no religion. I'm a genius. I've created Star Wars. Let's be clear. It's really important why this is shitty. Like, Star Wars is this thing where you don't have to think about God or any of these real world things, and so it's this fun universe where mysticism and like D&D, where this stuff is real, but there's no stake in it to your real life, and you can feel like you're having fun in it without it dragging you down. So religion is like an important part of Star Wars. So it's not like George Lucas hasn't sat around thinking about religion all the time. So the idea that you can not say that he's totally at fault for this is This is the issue. I'm legitimately unable to make jokes. Like, I know that this angry nerd thing is a thing on the internet. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm unhappy being this unhappy about Star Wars.
What's good is that, I mean, stuff like this has caused the people who work on Star Wars now, I feel, also have a distaste for everything we have a distaste for. I've been to Industrial Light and Magic. One of the people who works there is a Magic Tavern fan, so they gave us like a backstage tour and stuff. And they have so many things set up around the building that are just like kind of fuck yous to stuff they don't like. Like, there's a Jar Jar Binks in carbonite, like a full size Jar Jar Binks in carbonite, where obviously everyone hates it. So it's just nice to know that like the current generation has seen all this shit and knows what not to do. I mean, clearly there's people have issues with the newer Star Wars, but it's just nice to know that hopefully we can find more success in Star Wars by backing away from failure.
What do you mean by you people?
What'd you say?
What do you mean by you people? Hold on. I have some issues with it. I tried. I have some issues with it. I have none of the stupid issues. I just think, first of all, they're long. They're very long.
That's what she said.
That's for the start. Yes, that is what she said. So who are you going to agree with? Me and her? She said it. Are you a fan? Do you like them?
Yeah.
I like the newer ones. I thought they were pretty good. My whole thing is like, any movie I go into, I'm just like, I'm going to enjoy this as like a movie-going experience. I'm not going to
have the critical eye.
Yeah, I try to just be like, I'm just gonna try. It's gonna take a lot for me not to enjoy this. And so since I've started watching movies with that attitude, I feel like I enjoy more movies, surprisingly. Well, but yeah, I feel like there's always something to complain about, but I try and just be like, hey, this is I'm eating popcorn. I got a smile on my face. This is great.
And then you seen this movie and you was like, screw everything I just said.
Yeah, and this shattered my whole mantra. Shattered. In an instant by a grandpa Wookiee watching virtual porn.
Yeah.
Let me say, in
oh my
defense
gosh,
of that,
unzip your pants. Oh, your dick's so adorable.
it's so adorable. Oh man, do you like my little slutty adorable face?
And then essentially, Wookiees are naked. So where do they tuck the piece at?
I have to assume they have cloacas.
Entirely possible.
And people don't know this, but simians and apes, aside from humans, have quite. Let's get into, because this is more interesting, the real anatomy of humans amongst the great apes. Humans have quite large genitals compared to the other great apes. They're actually quite garish compared to the other. I know. I knew I would notice. So, it's quite a disadvantage if you don't wear clothing to have large genitals or easy to access genitals. So compared to the other, even gorillas, which are many, many times our size, you would impress a gorilla with your ding dong.
That's why you're not supposed to look at them, because they get fucking furious. They're so jealous.
They know it. They know it the
so
whole time.
jealous.
What's under those pants?
Don't you look at me.
First gorilla that learns to talk. I should probably have pants, right, to cover my wiener. And people are like, it's not a problem. No, I should have some pants, right? Oh yeah, you got to cover that up. I now sound negative because I don't like the new movies too, and I'm not liking this portrayal of me as this negative nerd. I went in very happy to watch Star Wars. I came out just like The Hobbit, pretty slowly disappointed. I have none of the problems the internet says they have with
So,
it.
like,
Okay?
you're
I like the girls in it. I wanted more girls and more people of color. I like all that stuff. Even more disappointing because they tried to kind of do.
So your disappointment comes from your knowledge of the source material?
No, it doesn't. That's what nerds think. It doesn't come from that. It came with here's the advantage. Here's the advantage that Star Wars has. Like you mentioned, the McElroys, like the Adventure Zone. Like all they need to do is mention a character from it, and I start to tear up, and they can do no wrong. I cried when in whatever it was 7 when it came on. So that has an advantage that like any of Transformers did not have. You know what I mean? Like they just played a single sound and showed a graphic and I cried. So it takes a lot to get me down from there. It's not precious to me. I don't care. I was pretty hyped to watch it. I'm not like a negative person. I like the prequels. I'll throw this out. I like Jar Jar Binks. Nothing wrong with Jar Jar Binks. But I didn't like that, and I don't like Life Day is 1,000 times worse. Let me say, the movies are movies. They're okay. Life Day is in a totally different ballpark. I don't want people to think I'm just so negative.
Just somewhat negative.
Yes.
I mean, I'm mostly negative. It's not like it's so off if you think that about me and listening to this.
That's not your main defining trait, is it?
I'd go as far to say it's my main defining trait, but
Okay, yeah.
But
I was trying to be nice. You're the guest, but okay,
trying
fine.
to push against it in this case for whatever reason.
One thing, actually, that I was doing a little bit of research for it, and I did not know who Diane Cowell was before watching the Star Wars special, and now that I know who she is, I honestly do not know what the hell happened and why she agreed to be in it. She is the one that portrayed the VR person, and she was an actress, singer, model, activist. She won a Tony Award. She was nominated for an Academy Award. She won a Golden Globe. She was a trailblazer in several different areas of her life, and she played that. And it's just so.
You're only as good as the writing.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
wants to be a
but-
part of
Probably
Star
did
Wars.
it.
Look at Bill Burr.
She probably did it for her grandkids. She probably said, guess what, kids? You turn on the TV, turn on that little CBS. It's the second one on the dial, and you just take a look on the TV, and guess who you'll see? Ooh, just I've got a big surprise for you. And then that's what happened. They took this woman, she never talked to her grandkids again. That's what happened. It's this thing's fault. Most likely.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you happy, Paul? Are you happy that we did this little thing and we all had to go down memory
Yeah,
lane?
Paul, you feel like a big man forcing
Yeah,
a bunch of
buddy.
people to watch this garbage? You feel like a big man?
Paul.
Big
Loud
man over
noises.
there,
We're
tough guy?
angry.
Yeah, tough guy.
Yes. I
Pick on
feed off
someone
the
your own
anger.
size.
Bring it. I'm palpatining it up here. Yes, I'll be perfectly honest. I did not anticipate what I was going into, obviously, and I do apologize for making you watch as much of it as you guys did. Obviously, Mike, you didn't rewatch it, so yes, well done you. And yeah, like
It's hard to
I
do that
honestly-
with a movie, a whole movie.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I honestly do implore anyone listening that has not watched the Star Wars special to please keep it that way.
I mean, 'cause, I mean, even if it wasn't a Star Wars property, it was still a bad movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, even taking into account that everyone that watched this will have watched it having seen the first film. So you would have known, obviously, who the main cast were, which
Well,
is
let's
good.
be clear
because they
here.
turned
That's
up
not
for
the case
about
in
5
1978. That's not the situation in 1978. Let's be really clear about how this whole thing could have ruined a lot of stuff. In 1978, a lot of people saw Star Wars, but not everyone saw Star Wars. There would have been a significant amount of the population who owned a TV and could watch CBS and would not have seen this. So let's be clear. This was not some like move like nowadays where it's like, well, you can make anything with Star Wars because everyone knows it. This was for sure. Oh, Dad, I saw Star Wars. Let's go watch this TV special. This is what he
Absolutely.
smacks his kid around the living room.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like this, like
$5.
anyone that wanted to watch this will have seen Star Wars, and then their families were introduced to Star Wars this way.
See, no, this is historical context again. It was around Thanksgiving. So you're home from college and you're locked there with the worst people in the world, your parents, and you just want to watch something good, even if they don't like it. And you think, Star Wars is going to be on TV tonight. And you turn it on and this happens to you, and you're still stuck there with your family or old high school girlfriends. It's the worst thing that can happen to someone.
I like to imagine that like there was a young like 7-year-old boy who had that exact experience, and he grew up. You know, he toiled and studied and spent his years tinkering around, taking things apart, putting them together, and then eventually, based off that one scene with the grandpa and the porn, he created the Oculus Rift.
Because that's how he got the name. He goes, I
Yeah.
saw this thing one night and I wanted to rift my eyes out of my head.
Yeah, and luckily it doesn't look like one of those old beehive hairdresser helmets, because that's what it looks like in this thing.
I will say it is cool. The little I don't know what it's called, like the table where Han and Chewbacca play chess, or who plays chess? Somebody plays chess on it in the movies, right? The hologram little table. It is cool that this show, basically in 1978 or whatever, invented Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yes, definitely a sort of the low budget version of Cirque du Soleil, but yes, definitely. Yeah, not that you want anything positive to be assigned to this thing, but
You gotta look for
You
the
know.
positives, man. You gotta look for them.
yeah, I mean, you've really got to look in this thing. Yeah, no, it.
I don't know if you guys have seen those are now popular. There's these like things where they sell that are essentially like a projector and a fan that shows, if you don't know that old Scooby-Doo trick, you can point a projector at a fan and it will, sort of stay on the fan. Most famous are those things that like they'll flip back and forth, it's like and it'll say like, welcome to my store or whatever. And this chess thing is now like becoming like a popular, like crappy, one of those expensive toys someone buys, they're like coming back, even though they weren't featured in the new movies. I don't know why.
Oh, that's wild. And they actually have holograms?
What it is that they put in.
It's just a
like
projector.
It's a projector, and
Gotcha,
there's a 3D asset.
I see.
And so when you move around, it looks pretty 3D.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. Like it really is so sad because you can tell that people were trying. There were some people that were probably like, okay, this is probably gonna look cool. And Harvey Korman basically doing a "Whose line is it anyway?" person behind them with the and saying like, that. It has the potential to be funny and to really actually be a good segment. And the problem is, it was in this, so it just wasn't. It was surrounded by grunts and like trilling, basically.
I'll say something about because Adal mentioned Industrial Light Magic, and whenever Star Wars is made, like, the effects are, those artists are, I'm always in awe of that. I just want to say that. So in this, I do appreciate in the cartoon as an animator, at that time, this was sort of the crest of the wave of Hanna-Barbera, and which was kind of starting to crash. And Hanna-Barbera, if you don't know, was known for minimal animation. So it would have been quite easy for that cartoon for them to call up one of the many minimal animation studios and really done this cheaply. I did appreciate that the cartoon, this was the one thing, it is hand drawn, it is frame by frame, there aren't a ton of, fake effects. There's a lot of it's done on ones and twos. There's very few looping. I was actually impressed to see that, like, there were real walk cycles and not repeated weirdness and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was like watching it, even though the character models were somewhat off-putting to me personally. I did kind of look at it and go, you know what? I can see almost like the genesis of like the emblemation style. Like it seems like if you were to let it mature, you would definitely get that sort of the Don Bluth stuff back there. But yeah, I didn't.
It feels like they should have, since they had Roger Corman, they should have just handed all the writing over to like the Carol Burnett staff. Like get Carol in there, get Tim Conway, like just have them write it or something, and have it be just like a laugh. Just have it be a laugh a minute. No sketch is longer than 2 minutes, and it's like whatever celebrities from the late 70s show up, like maybe Nixon shows up and he's like, I am not a Wookiee, and like we love that, and everyone goes nuts, and like like just there, this was so devoid of joy, and the attempts at joy were the attempts of a sociopath. Like nothing on screen could possibly bring the faintest smile to even a dying person. Like this is bad.
Did you ever
this should be launched into space.
Did you ever see The Unforgiven?
The Clint Eastwood movie?
Yes.
Yes.
That's how I often imagine, and Morgan Freeman's character is how I often imagine George Lucas. Like, he's just up there, he's trying to live a peaceful life, and every once in a while someone comes up to that ranch and is like, you've got to finish what you started. And he's like, I don't know if I can do it anymore. That's a great point you've made about the Carol Burnett staff. I forgot. So I always think about George Lucas being like tortured. You got to write a video game, George. He's like, please leave me alone. I just want to spend time with my daughter for 5 minutes. No, right. And so
I have to assume in this scenario that you're Little Bill, Gene Hackman's Little Bill. Or
yeah,
what's
I'm
his
Little
name?
English Bill. English Bob?
English Bob
No,
was the reporter.
English Bob
I
was
thought Gene Hackman was like Little Bill or something.
The sheriff.
Yeah, who killed Morgan Freeman?
Yeah. Spoilers. So I always imagine him kind of being tortured to do more, and everyone is always disappointed because it's like they're making him do too much. He wrote these great things. But you make a great point about the Carol Burnett staff. No one at Star Wars had to write this at all. They could have handed this to any of the talented people at CBS at the time to write anything.
Yeah, this is like if they're like, hey, we're going to do a Rick and Morty special. Let's get the writers of This Is Us to pen it, and then and make it 2 hours long. Like, what are we doing? Like, if you're going comedy, hire comedy writers.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, I honestly don't get it. Like this genuinely is something that could be shown as a masterclass in just how badly things can go, because the tone is just completely off. The decisions that were made in the setting and everything were just like, even if you added subtitles for the Wookiees, like even though that's not something in the films, because they were given such a huge thing, if you just gave them subtitles, maybe that section would be a little bit more bearable to watch. And if you got rid of the VR porn. But yeah, just I mean, genuinely, I think that scene was put in because they were like, oh shit, we haven't done anything with his dad. What would his dad want to do? Porn? Okay. Like, that's about it. Like, he's just there in the other scene. So it's like, okay, we need something with him. Because, Lumpy is playing with toys. Chewbacca's wife is cooking in the kitchen. Dad,
he should be watching the hologram table, and it's basically like the History Channel, but it's just like all the wars of past whatever. So I feel like that would have been funnier and like a more true to. I mean, I guess old people love porn, but I don't know.
Yeah, dirty old
This is a
man.
wild choice.
I have another CBS star that could have been in this that I think is perfect for the no talking things. Bob
Okay.
Newhart. It would have been all Bob Newhart, famous for talking to
yeah.
people who aren't talking on the phone. Have Bob Newhart there just talking to the Wookiees and doing the whole bit on just him talking to them. That would have been amazing.
And
It would
also
just be
also
Newhart's
his
guys.
like deadpan, where it's like if you even if you do have where it is him with one of the characters. If you have him and one of the Wookiees who's just like screaming, grunting, he has such a deadpan delivery that's so it's like a metronome that he could be like, yeah, I hear you. Like that would have killed if he just had if it's basically like really fast speech and then slow speech, that would have crushed.
I like that you like the same thing I like about Bob Newhart, which is
Oh, yeah.
his small stammer.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, it just
Yeah.
kills. It kills me every time.
Maybe he could have been their butler or something.
Oh, that'd be
He's
great.
just-
Or the neighbor who's like, can you shut your kid up?
Hey, I'm next door. Just know, I can see you're all a bunch of angry apes. That's
Yeah.
That's,
And then we
that's
go
great.
to his home and we see that he has like mounted above his fireplace is a bunch of Wookiee heads.
Oh my God, he's IG-88.
Yeah.
It's been Bob Newhart the whole time. Can I say something else about Life Day? Okay, so the Kashyyyk is one of the worst invaded planets in the war because we see this big battle at the end of 3, right? And so it is occupied. That's a part of the story. So why are things good? I've said this a lot about Star Wars. They do a bad job showing what the Empire does badly, right? Like they always show like Darth Vader killing people, but it's like, okay, well then you kill people. Like you also kill people, rebels. So like, what did they do that's actually bad? And so they kind of missed an opportunity here to make it a sort of, you should have done a Dickensian sort of Christmas where things are terrible, but like, they're making by. Like, what's the problem with the Empire if everyone's able to stop by and have, a fun Life Day? What's the issue? What are we rebelling against? I'm serious.
No, yeah, it's more. It really is that the Empire in this is more just seen as kind of the mafia. Like they just turn up and they wreck your house because they're looking for something, and they're like, "All right, we'll be back."
Yeah, go clean up your room.
That would be a fun thing to if Darth Vader's voice was like Brando instead of James Earl Jones.
Who wants
That
to
could've
do
been
it? Who wants to
interesting,
try?
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Vader's voice, this was also the official introduction of the fact that James Earl Jones was the voice of Vader. Because he's uncredited in the first film, so this was the first official time that they'd said that he was the voice of Vader. So
Truly,
Yes.
I mean, truly the best voice of all time. Like, no arguing, best voice of all time. Second place, maybe like David Attenborough, but that's a distant second.
I don't like how Attenborough says year.
Yeah.
It's been a big. He says yeah.
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 Maybe he's saying yeah.
yeah, this
So excited by the animals. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this squid. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, queen.
yeah.
Oh, I will say, Paul, just so you know, because I think it was you. If it wasn't you, my apologies for ruining this podcast. What I did after I turned off the Star Wars Holiday Special because I could no longer stand it, I immediately turned on Bluey, which is a recommendation I believe you gave me, which
That was
is
me, yep.
which is an Australian kid show involving a family of 4 dogs, and it immediately filled my heart with joy, and I was in a better place.
Oh, good. Yes, that is actually. You know what? That is pretty much the perfect palate cleanser for anything like this. Like, yeah, you need something to just kind of cheer you up. It's 7 minutes long, and it's just filled with goodness.
It took
So,
it took 4 cartoon Australian dogs to to convince me that humanity is worthwhile.
But didn't it depress you? Weren't you like, hey, this is a show about 4 dogs, and that's what the other thing I watched was about, and that was bad. Made by
Essentially, that was
infinitely
4
better
dogs as
filmmakers.
well.
You watched the same thing, Adal.
Yeah, but this one was done better. So there you go.
And it was
That's the
7
depressing
minutes.
part. The biggest CBS is the biggest TV company in the world. And they did Four Dogs way worse. That didn't upset you? It didn't depress you? I'm depressed.
I want a sweater. I want a crew neck sweater that's the entire Chewbacca family, and underneath it just says 4 dogs way worse. With no context.
Let's make it happen, everyone.
I think I know a guy.
Knit.
There we go. We just need 4 of those made up, and we can be the only ones to
Yes,
have
please.
I will wear that. Honestly, if you make it, if you make it, send me and don't charge like $1,000. You know, like make it a normal price for something you knit. I will pay you to ship it to me. I'll pay you to ship it to all of us.
All right, well, and I think on that we should probably bring this to a close because we have completely derailed from actually talking about this thing to anything else. Please, God, anything else. So, so with all of that, I can only say now, seriously, thank you guys for even attempting to either rewatch this or relive it in the case of Mike. For going through this, because again, I do sincerely apologize for not heeding Mike's warning properly.
Apology not accepted.
Fair enough. I will say I personally think it was worth it just for being able to talk to you guys about it and really just get some interesting conversation going. But I'm sure everyone else disagrees. So. So, yeah, again, thank you very much to Mike, B-Rob, Adal for coming back on and be willing to actually talk to me tonight. Because you would have been well within your right to have said, something's come up.
Let me tell you something, Paul.
That's what took you so long. I got it.
No, actually, I was eating a banana.
Excitement, good TV. A Jedi seeks not these things. Okay, buddy? Anytime you want me to watch that piece of shit.
Yeah, again, I can only thank you guys again and again for doing this. It was a blast having you guys on, and hell, let's just round robin it, in the order that we did the episodes. And so, Mike, if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Well, I don't do plugs because they're insufferable and they have this certain tone, but I'll do it
okay,
anyway.
never mind. No,
I'm fine with
go
that.
ahead.
They'll find me. No, I'm serious about it. Go ahead.
Okay, all right.
Whatever. Mike Fallek. Look me up. I'm the only one with that name.
There you go. All right. B-Rob, you're up next. Where can people find you?
You can find me on the interwebs at randomrob.com.
Ooh. Wow, what a voice. So sonorous. Can you say in a world?
In a world.
Wow. Amazing.
Can you say
right.
tonight
Move over,
on
James Earl Young.
Cinemax?
I wouldn't say all that.
Well, move over old what's his name?
That guy. Yeah.
John Bailey, I believe.
That's his name. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. And so, Adal, if you want to go up next after that sultry tones of B-Rob, where can people find you?
Of course, you can find me on social media at Adal Rifai, and you can check out my podcast, Hello from the Magic Tavern, and Hey Riddle Riddle.
Cat in the fiddle.
Yeah,
the
and-
cow jumped over the moon.
Woo! Exactly. Yes, definitely do go check out those. And pretty much everything that all of these guys are in, they're just fantastic stuff here, there, and everywhere. And thank you guys for listening to whatever the hell this was. Yes, and once again, I will emphatically say, do not watch the Star Wars Holiday Special if you haven't already subjected yourself to it.
Please.
Please don't.
This is not to be funny.
No, yes, absolutely. I'm completely serious when I mean that. I mean it now. Don't see it. But
I do think Just a Groomer is going to be the new like Who's on First.
Yep.
In the store where it's like Just a Groomer, no, and it's like a 10-minute sketch of talking about all the things this groomer does. Sorry to elongate this.
that's fine.
No, like the holiday special, there's no rhyme or reason when this ends. The plugs, more bits. How much longer will it go on? Are you on the treadmill? Keep running. The pain you experience is getting
This
you
is the
closer
part
to.
that does
Never end.
It
Yes, it goes on and on, my friend.
Some people started casting it, not knowing what it means.
Yeah. Folks, I try and end it, and they just keep pulling you back in. But
Yeah, you want to watch Godfather 2? I'll watch Godfather 2 with all y'all.
Hell yeah.
Now that you say pulling me back in, let's watch that. Or 3, sorry, Godfather 3 is what I meant.
Well,
you ever seen that, Paul?
I'll be perfectly honest, and given that you guys are the ones that helped me watch Star Wars, you're going to appreciate this. I have still yet to watch in its entirety any of the Godfather films as well. So,
Well, we got it. That's how we got to do a reunion. Is Godfather 3?
Yeah,
Another
there you
piece
go.
of dog shit.
How about we do that next? Yeah.
Yeah.
Next year,
This year.
of course, yes, that will be.
My milkshake brings all the girls to the yeah.
I like. The turtle carries
We've
the
really got to finish this.
Hey, what about Losers? Have you watched that yet?
Anyways, the end of this podcast.
Hold on. Wait, I have more
Yes.
recommendations too.
Yeah,
Everyone go watch Doom Patrol. It made me cry. It's great.
You know what? I watched Doom Patrol, and they played that one song by Frank Ocean in one of the seasons or whatever. And ever since I seen it on heard it on Doom Patrol, I've heard it on 2 or 3 other movies and TV series as well.
Yeah.
yeah, just like when you get a new car and then you just start seeing that car everywhere. It's like, wow.
Yes.
What's
Bader
going on there?
Bader Meinhof, whatever that's called, right? Isn't that it? What's that one?
Something
called?
along those lines.
Sure. I knew I'd get something more pretentious in than what I said earlier.
Yeah, there you go.
This
Well
is
done.
the end. Bye.
Yes, thank you, Adam. Seriously, everyone, thank you for listening. Do not watch this film, and I'll see you next time. Bye.